Okay.
So we're going to talk to, first of all, Myra, welcome, because I don't think people have seen your face on your Instagram. So this is
I don't think so. I don't think so.
So this is the first, and it's not on your website. So this is the first time that people are meeting founder, creator, Bacon a Minute.
Yes, here I am.
There you are.
There's my entrance. I've done it. There it is.
You've done it. Tomorrow there's going to be a picture of you right up there on your Instagram. Or I'll post.
Yes, in all my glory.
I'll post of one of the two of us with our Brians, basically.
Yeah.
Right? With both Brians, basically.
Exactly, both Brians, because we both have a Brian.
We both have a Brian. So when we're emailing each other back and forth, it's like, hey, say hi to your Brian, say hi to your Brian. It's hilarious. We're going to talk about the mix. We're going to talk about the name, and then we're going to go straight into, Marin wants to say hi. See, I get distracted.
Hi.
Hi, Myra. And we're going to go into all the uses for your mix, which I'm super, super excited about because we had a chat on the phone today and I literally wrote down 30 things. And then I talked to Brian's mom upstairs and she just was like, gave me another 30 things. So this is amazing. So that's awesome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the origins of Bacon a Minute and how it started?
Bacon a Minute. Okay, well, I mean, for me, I've always been somebody who I love working out. So I actually went from being a cardio girl to a strength training girl. Right. So when I turned 40, I got into my first fitness competition. Prior to that, my husband had a health diagnosis. Yeah. And it was a combination of trying to strengthen his health and trying to support him, and me fitness competing, that we found Bacon a Minute. And what we actually love about it is the fact that it keeps the carbs low, so you don't have to worry about, weight gain, and it helps to keep your blood sugar level low, which is also really great for Brian. I mean, it's great for everybody, right?
Right. So
we started kind of just mixing up, like I always say, our biggest competitor is Pinterest, right? We started, right? Because you'll literally find thousands and thousands of recipes on how to make a bread, a low carb bread, a ketogenic bread,
Right.
But there were no mixes out there. So I would make in bigger batches and put them in the fridge. And one day I said to Brian, I said, you think people would like this? Yeah. And he's like, probably. And I'm like, my experience has taught me that if you like something, there's got to be that other one crazy person out there who will like it with you. And all it was just, I called my mom one day and she was in the West Coast, and the time difference was all, crazy. And I called her 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, hello. And I'm like, Mommy, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to wake you, but I need to get this formula down. Yeah. And that was it. We got the formula down. We, we did a show in Toronto. Yeah. The response was good, but then we heard nothing else.
Right.
And it was like, So kind of sat on it, still eating the bread, doing things with it. Had started Instagram. Something said, start Instagram, take pictures.
Right.
And then one day it was like, we got to get this in people's hands. Somebody had told you have to get your product in people's hands. They're not going to understand it unless they have tried it. So I kind of looked up and I'm like, well, Keto and Tio, she sounds like something about her. Right? Yeah. Colleen.
Yeah, Colleen.
So I reached out.
Right.
And then she's like, oh, you know what? We're having a meetup. Well, would you like to do something?
Yeah.
And there it was, as they say, it's all history. And there was Switch Grocery. And you guys gave us our start.
That's
so
crazy.
I want to thank you.
I didn't even know that. I'm
going to be here. Thank you guys.
I love it. And we, I remember handing it out at our first meetup in November 2017, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
November 2017, we handed it out. And then after that, I think it kind of, that's when, and then people started the next day, and it just went all over kind of Instagram. And now the rest is history. Now we're working together.
Yes, I know. When I got the first picture, I was like, whoa. I'm like, Brian, somebody has actually posted a picture. Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, I got to repost. You know what I mean? And that's what started things. Now I found that great that I had put up 400 photos.
Yeah.
But as soon as other people saw other people using the product,
for sure,
that's when it really took off. I think that gave validation to the product, right? Oh, it can be used for this. Oh, it can be used for that.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that Jackie just said her daughter ate all of the first batch. She ate her crumbs, and she's so picky. Yeah, we all know about Bella. And if Bella likes, I always say this to Jackie, if Bella likes something, then we just know. We all know. And I love that Erica said that it's amazing for her because of diabetes. So
nice.
Yeah, this is the one story where I do get a little bit kind of emotional. Like when we met in the Tim Hortons, you know, because it's true. Like I think with food, once it gets into people's hands and they just start doing something with it, it's like the rest is history. And we were talking a little bit with, this is really why I like Bake in a Minute. So for me, it's, you know, we've been following the keto lifestyle for Brian and I for about 4 years, you know, 80% of the time kind of, you know, breaking a little bit at Christmas, weddings and all of that, but we do it more as a lifestyle for health reasons. And it's really helped us. And what I really like about Bake in a Minute is it doesn't come as a finished food. Like it's not takeout that you just go and you buy like something that's already made for you. And you can really, so it kind of still, like it gets you in the kitchen, right? Like you have to go and do something with this mix. And I just really love that. And I really thought I had to give up bread for the longest time. I was just like, okay, bread is just not in my life. That's okay. Like that's, you know, for health reasons, I'm just not going to have bread. And when we found Bake in a Minute, we made it after that first meetup too. It was almost like, I can't believe that I'm having bread. Like I can actually have some bread. I can actually have a McDonald's Egg McMuffin, but made at home.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. That's close to my heart.
Yeah. So I want to tell you that this launch is so important to us and you guys are so important to us. And I love this. Like I love this product and I just can't wait to get it into more people's hands. So can you tell us about the name, Myra? Because it's kind of cheeky. Like, so many, you know, we meet with so many companies and really like the name Bake in a Minute. I think that really sets you apart because it's, and you know, my, Brian's mom and I were just chatting about, it's something that you don't need to be a baker to make, you know, to do anything with it. You can just, it's so easy. So talk to us about the name and if you don't mind.
So Bake in a Minute came from, we were looking for something that really would resonate with people.
Right.
And would describe the product in as few words as possible.
Right.
So believe it or not, Bake in 90 seconds was actually on the table. Like that was
90 seconds.
Bake in 90 seconds was, you know, and it was like, and then it was, well, Bake in minutes. But then it was like, well, how many minutes?
Right.
You know, we didn't want the questions.
Right.
And so we bounced Bake in a Minute. I'm like, well, Bake in a Minute, right? And we said, well, it's not a minute really because it's 90 seconds, but there is a minute in there. I mean, it's a minute and 30 seconds, right? Yeah. So we're just like, look, it's going to be Bake in a Minute and that's it. Like we just decided it is a minute. We're going to keep that. And if anybody asks us, we'll go and ask them to go and ask the other company that sells rice. And they tell you it's minute, but it takes longer than that. Right. And we all know that. So exactly.
That's amazing. Because I went to your I think it was in December 2017, I went to your website and it said, why is it baked? Like one of your FAQs is, why is this, you know, Bake in a Minute when it's 90 seconds? You're like, just because we wanted to, okay? Bake in a Minute sounds better. And
exactly.
Like, here's the personality of the people behind this who wrote this FAQ. I love it.
Yes. Because we have had that question before.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, let's get into your mix. I want to just review the ingredients if everyone has not seen this. This is, the ingredients are almond flour, ground flax meal, psyllium husk, and baking powder. And this does come, so it's a Bake in a Minute mix. And the recipe that's on the back, the microwave recipe is bread mix, which is just 1/4 of the pack, 1 whole egg, 1 tablespoon of oil or butter, and microwave on high for 90 seconds. So that's the first kind of recipe. You just get this and you just start. So
that's right.
Do you want to talk a little bit with us about if someone is brand new
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a lot of time. They're kind of intimidated by the kitchen anyway. And I'm also not a baker. I'm not, like, Brian's more creative than I am. Where do they start? Like, how do they start with this?
Well, first of all, we describe our mix as being the non-bakers mix. So it's for non-bakers, really. Like, we want something that's super, super simple and straightforward. So as a newbie, if you're starting, just start with the 90-second mug bread. Get a feel for it and get a feel for the versatility of it. I mean, you're talking 25 grams or a quarter cup for, the rest of us. 1 egg, like you said, a tablespoon of oil or butter. That will really get people started and to really let them get a feel and a taste for the product.
Awesome.
Right? You can toast it, you cannot toast it, you can add things to it, put a spread on it, so that to us is the first step. And if you don't want the microwave option, just, you can make it in the oven. What I do personally is I'll take like half a pack, so half a cup of it.
Right.
And so I can get like 2 or 3 small biscuits.
Right.
Prepared the same way, just drop it on some parchment paper, stick it in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes. Right. And once again, getting a feel and taste for the product. Exactly. Right. So yeah, parchment paper is great because whenever we're making something, you just drop it on there.
Right.
Slides off easily. There's no burning, nothing. So.
Right. And in the oven, it's, I'm just looking at how long it goes in because the 8 to 10 minutes.
8 to 10 minutes in the oven, yeah. Depending on what you're making, the average time is 8 to 10 minutes. It's also, baking a minute is also dependent on liquid.
Okay.
So, I mean, as you can see, we have no water. People have asked, well, there's no water added, Myra. Like, did you make a mistake? No, you don't add water to our product, right? But other liquids might be even liquids from fruits and vegetables. Right. So if you're making muffins, that will change the cooking time. Sometimes if we're baking something and we add like cream to it, that will also change the baking time.
Yeah. We always just leave it in a little bit longer. I think that's just because we like it that way.
Exactly. Yeah.
It just comes down to preference. And what like in terms of your customers, do you find that most of them are low carb or, keto or grain free or gluten free? Like what are the kind of people that would be into? Because I think it's just super healthy to me. Mm-hmm. So I just find like someone like my brother who's just trying to cut back on carbs at night, this would be a great option for him too. But what do you find in terms of lifestyles, when people purchase Bacon a Minute? Is it just
it's all genres. I find we do have a lot of keto and low carb people.
Right.
I do have a handful of people who are into fitness as well. Okay. Because like I said, like when you're training really hard and you have to lose, but you want that little bit of, bread taste. Right. So that's really good. It's high in fat, low in carbs. So that really helps to support training. Yeah. We do get a few diabetics. So that's good, but it's really right across the board. And even just for people who are into general wellness, health and well-being. Right?
For sure.
Yeah.
And just the fact that people, even if they're into health and wellness and are lazy, like someone on this live, this is great for you.
Yes.
So let's go into all of the how to use the mixes. So I've got such a long list, but today we talked about sandwich thins. So can we start with that and then the pizza?
Yes. Well, so I've done a few posts with the sandwich thins where I will take half a cup of our mix, add 2 eggs, 2 tablespoons of oil or butter. We normally use ghee in my house, so I'll use 2 tablespoons of ghee, not heaping tablespoons, mind you, just, and we'll mix that up. And what I do is I get my precious parchment paper, line it on the cookie sheet, and then I'll just drop dollops on the cookie sheet just to make like little circles because it will spread. Right. And what you have then is after 8 to 10 minutes, you have Bacon a Minute thins, and they're great for sandwiches. So we usually have that with burgers. Right. Yeah. Because sometimes it can be just, even bacon a minute can be too much bread, even at 25 grams.
Okay.
It can be too much bread. So that is awesome because we take that 25 grams and you'll get literally 4 to 6 thins. So that even cuts the nutrients in half. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah.
That's insane. Like that's going up on our website. Like that's amazing. Like I might have to come over and just take a picture of you doing this because I'm super excited. Okay.
We've actually had some fun with it as well by adding food coloring. So I will add a picture. I will post some pictures on our site, but we did add food coloring to it. So you'll see like blue and red and stuff. And it's just fun for the summer. Right.
I'm just so excited right now. I'm trying to contain that. Can we talk about my favorite? No, Erica, I'll definitely put it up. We're going to put it up. We're not going to forget. Quesadillas. Oh, Jackie's talking about quesadillas. Oh, that sounds like a brilliant idea. I'm just, Katie says hi and says that I'm not lazy. So I really appreciate that, Katie. And yeah, that sounds great. Pizza. Can we get to pizza? And can you tell us how you do
pizza? I love making pizza with bacon a minute because I find it's very simple and very straightforward. Like I said before, or if I've said it, I find our mix is very forgiving.
Yeah.
And so what I would do with pizza is last time I believe and this is the thing when people ask me for recipes, I'm like, I just eyeball everything. But in this case, I believe it was 75 grams or 3/4 cup of the mix.
Right.
And I think I added 2 or 3 eggs to it. Like I will play around with it again, but I added 2 or 3 eggs and I literally just spread it on the parchment paper until it like filled, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. So I literally just spread it. Actually, it might have been the package actually.
Right.
Added in the package with 3 eggs. So just spread it and then bake it. So bake it for the 8 to 10 minutes. You're not going to get a cracker. You're just going to get a very thin bacon a minute, you know.
Right.
And then what I do with it is if I want it really crispy, I'll flip it over. If not, I'll just take it out, add my toppings to it, the sauce, the cheese, everything, and then just stick it back in the oven and just have everything heat up, have the cheese melt, and that's it. We have posted it a few times on Instagram, but I'll do it again. But I love it. And it's so easy, and I'm very unapologetic when it comes to pizza. So I will throw everything on that bad boy and we'll kill it.
Right.
So, yeah.
I cannot. I might make this tonight with this mix because or it's the weekend. It's Canada Day. I think I'm going to make pizza this weekend. That's amazing. Like the hardest thing for me, I don't know for anyone, Jackie's saying yes, but the hardest thing for me is pizza. Like Brian's mom had pizza at lunch and I just stared at it. You know, so I'm just craving pizza. That's amazing. I can't even. I've got a lot more questions. I've got garlic bread, hamburgers, breading chicken, croutons. Can you go over it a little bit more? Like now we're talking someone's used to your mix. They're like kind of, I'm getting there. Well, how can they take it to the next level?
Taking it to the next level. So, I mean, you can, I make muffins with it a lot of times. So I'll just throw, you know, some blueberries or chocolate chips. I got some chocolate from Coco Polo. So we've done a lot with them by making stuff with it. Right. So I'll just throw I'll throw strawberries and chocolate chips and blueberries, and, you know, so I'll do that. Breaded chicken was huge because I'm a huge shake and bake fan.
Right.
And so I was like, shake and bake in a minute.
Right.
So,
bake in a minute. How did I not
shake and bake in a minute? I know. So
back to university days.
I'm telling you.
Right.
So what we do is we literally just take it's about half a cup, once again, eyeballing, right?
Right.
But about half a cup it depends on the amount of chicken you have as well.
Right.
But I'll take half a cup of our mix and I will throw in garlic, granulated garlic, some paprika, black pepper, and some salt, and some maybe dry thyme. Mix it all together, and then throw my chicken in there, and then put it in the oven. and it just coats the chicken, and there you go. You have your chicken coater. I make a lot of stews at home. So, you know, I make stewed chicken, stewed beef, and I'm constantly looking for a thickener. Right. So, you know, you can use flour, you can use cornstarch. I just throw bacon a minute in there. And because of the flax meal and the psyllium husk, it just comes out just perfect consistency. It just serves as a thickener. Even in my taco meat and burger, meatballs, meatloaf. Right. I do the same thing, right? It acts as a binder.
Right.
Right. So you're getting your and you're also getting your fiber. So you're upping your fiber intake, right, you know, without weighing your gut. Right. Right. So we're building bulk. We always say you're building bulk, not bloat.
Right. So that sounds. I lost you at chicken nuggets. I just typed in a comment that said chicken nuggets for the twins. And I'm in a different world. I should have eaten before this live. Myra, I should have eaten before this live.
See, now you're going to eat after. It's going to be great.
It's going to be great. But I love the binding and the hamburgers because, you know, sometimes I have had hamburgers without bread and like it's a little boring. Like let's be real. And so to be able to do that and use bacon a minute for your hamburgers, I think that's fantastic. So I do, the other thing that was interesting was, and Brian's mom did this, she made us garlic bread the other night, and she actually minced garlic and put because you know with garlic, the way she explained it to me was like garlic has to sit with the butter for a while. So she mixed the garlic and the butter and let it sit and used that in the mix to make garlic bread.
How was it?
I can't even talk. Like it was like that was one of the best meals I've had in a long time. And I'm more of kind of sometimes like a savory person than a sweet person. So
yes.
Actually, I'm a dessert person, but I'm also like I like my savory. I don't know. I'm probably both. I love that I'm not a sweet person, but then I just eat all the sweets anyway. But no, definitely. I think that that garlic bread just like, I remember going to bed feeling more satisfied that night. You know? Okay.
It hit something.
Totally. I hit something. Bella is eating. Okay, so Jackie says Bella's eating her cheese and bacon muffin and she can't keep anything to myself. Look, Jackie, I don't have kids like you and Myra, so whatever I make right now, I'm eating, which is really, I can't imagine having kids and then making stuff and then they eat it.
It's annoying. I'm sorry. No. I don't care. I don't care. You know what? I will say that you can give the Mommy of the Year award to somebody else. I'm cool with that. It's annoying. It's annoying because we make stuff and I will tell Brian, I'll be like, yo, look, this is for us, you know, like, and what I try to do is I look at a lot of recipes out there and I try to replicate it. So cinnamon raisin bread. We'll go to the farm. Last time they had made like blueberry bread and I'm like, I'm going to try and do it with bacon a minute. So we cut the loaf and there's like warm, ooey gooey blueberries in there. And there's nothing annoying like thinking you're going to have like an adult sized portion only so that you watch your child having that adult sized portion and you're having a kid's meal. Like that's just, I'm sorry. So I feel you, girl. I feel you. Yeah, so annoying. Thieves, I feel you.
Bella, eat all of Jackie's food. Just do it. I'm on Bella's side here because I get it. She's like, hey, you know, I smell something. I want to eat it. I get it.
We do mug cakes late at night is what we do now. We'll do like a chocolate mug cake late at night. And actually even, so the chocolate mug cake is super simple. You know, it's all the ingredients and then we will melt dark chocolate, mix it in there and then just microwave it.
That's it?
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah. We just melt dark chocolate, throw it in there. Mix it. If you want a little bit sweeter than what the dark chocolate gives, you can add your sweetener to it. But that's it. You know, we just throw it in there. And I was even putting when I needed a fix when you're in training and you're getting to that time and you really have to cut down. Right. It's so intense, and I would add my protein chocolate protein powder, and that's what I was doing with it. Right. I was like, I need something. And so I was adding my chocolate protein powder and sticking it in there.
That's amazing. So technically I could make protein muffins. Like, Because I saw like Philosophy Cacao Magic is one of the protein powders that we have on Switch, and I saw that Marin took Philosophy Cacao Magic and then the Bacon a Minute and made pancakes with it.
She married them. Yes, she did. Yeah.
She married them. So for pancakes, would you do the same thing and then just make a pancake the way you usually do, like put it on your pan and then flip it over?
Yeah. So you just make the mix with the pancakes. You'll need double the eggs, right? Because you want it liquid. So it's double the eggs, but then you just add some of your protein powder to it. Now you don't want to add too much because it'll dry it out.
For sure.
Right. Okay. So you kind of just want to eyeball it and just mix it in there and then just fry it the same way.
That sounds amazing. I have to.
And I think that's what Marin did.
Yeah, I think so, because it looks. And then she put peanut butter on it, and she had me at hello. Stella made today the spicy chicken burgers with Just One's Kitchen with Bacon a Minute. Oh, that's amazing. And then Oscar has a craving but has no eggs, so he mixed Bacon a Minute with a tablespoon of mayo. He'll let us know if this works.
Let me know if it works. We've done it with flax egg. So we've tried flax egg and we've tried chia eggs in the oven. Right. And they came out okay. The really difficult thing about vegan baking is keeping that bind. Right. Keeping that bind. So it's not even the rise. Because of the baking powder, you will get the rise. Right. But it's that bind and so we're constantly testing it out and seeing how, if we can get a different results or if we can just even adjust the amounts and stuff. So we're still working on that. So let me know how the mayonnaise goes, because it'll be nice to know.
Well, and on that note, in terms of, some of our customer friends are kind of egg-free or dairy-free or vegetarian or vegan. So would you say, like, with the chia flax egg, it's some good results, but obviously not the same as if you were.
It's not the same. It's not the same. And we've even used just an egg replacer. We've done that with egg replacer, and it's still not. It's good for some things. So if you're like making pancakes and things like that, it's good for that. Okay. Great. For the 90-second bread, it still doesn't give that rise, and it needs longer because of that bind. Egg is, it gives that bind to things, right? So that's what in terms of, you don't have to use butter. You can pretty much use any oil depending on the flavor you're going for. So that's fine, but it's finding that bind and rise in place of the egg.
So you could use like coconut oil if you wanted to in it.
You can use coconut oil. You can use avocado oil. You can use olive oil, just depending on the flavor you're going for.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love olive oil, because I was just thinking about do you remember when you go to restaurants and you can't eat the bread?
Oh, I do that.
In the olive oil and balsamic, and then
I do that. Yes. Yeah. I do that. I use it and I dip it in stews. And you guys were talking about curries the other night with Simi, and I'm like, I dip it in my curry, I dip it in my sauces, my stews. Oh, totally. Yeah. Like you use the bit to clean the plate.
Right.
Clean the plate.
My kids do that. There's so many responses to kids. My kids do that to me all the time. I tell them, not unless you're keto. Late night when my kids are sleeping.
See, people can relate.
People can relate. Guys, these are parent problems that I didn't even think about, right? Like I just thought when you have kids, obviously financially, all your money and all your emotions and all of your energy goes to your children. But you're just telling me they even take your food, which that's another level for me, right?
Yes. They do. You start off by, you don't eat anything. I know for me, I didn't eat anything hot. After you give birth, you don't eat anything hot. You try to have something. So maybe your husband or your partner is spoon feeding you as you're feeding somebody. Right. And then next thing you know, it's like, whoa, so now I can have something hot, but there's nothing left. Right. So I could have had it hot, but you've eaten it all. Like, what's up?
Yes. Anyway. Okay, I'm going to enjoy my meal tonight with a newfound appreciation and for it. And I'm going to think of all of you, basically.
Yes, please do. Please do. Eat for all those mothers out there who can't eat their food.
I'm going to do that. And then I'll I'll come on my Instagram stories and say, oh, look, guys, I have no distractions. I'm just eating. This is so interesting. Oh, okay. So they get a scone. So Erica made scones, peanut butter scones with them.
Oh.
That's amazing.
Oh.
Erica,
Yeah.
You'll have to share that with us. And then do you want to talk about, because we were talking about when you mix blueberries in, you can make you can even mix like, let's say onion and cheese or raisins. We're talking about like walnut, cinnamon, raisin bread. At what point in the mix, like, is it when you make the mix, do you put it in the wet mix, like these ingredients?
You put it, so mix it first. So when you're doing it, mix your egg, and so add your wet ingredients first, your wet and liquid ingredients. So your egg and your fat, mix that, and then add the rest of your ingredients. Right now, what I do is, if I'm going to be baking something in the oven, you can add your vanilla. If you want vanilla, you can add your vanilla in there. Add your and then add your sweetener, because what happens is, if a lot of you are eating xylitol or erythritol, it's very grainy unless you're using the fine kind. So you're going to want to mix it a little bit more.
Okay.
And then at the very end, you add your berries, so you don't mush it up.
Okay. Got it.
Yes. So you actually want to fold your berries in instead of mixing it.
Got it. So berries are going in at the end. You don't want mush. I get it. That
yes.
makes sense. And I think that would be with all fruit, right? Like, even if someone was making a banana bread, like, you would put that in. Actually, with banana, it has to be all in, I guess.
It has to be well incorporated with banana, so it's soft. So banana is slightly different. The thing about banana is that I've done banana, like, I know my sister makes banana bread for my nephew. And yeah, she loves it. It just requires a little bit more baking time because of the liquid in banana.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then in terms of, if you're putting in, and this there are no stupid questions, I'm hoping. So let's say you're putting in like tomato and spinach and onions, like things just like to make it like, like feta, onion, spinach bread, whatever. Would you cook those vegetables first and then put them in, or would you just put them in with the bread and then bake it?
I would put it in with the bread and bake it.
Okay.
Right. So it depends on how you're making it. Once again, if you're doing it in the microwave, it'll be a little bit longer. Right. So you just have to keep an eye on that. Sometimes you just double the time. If you are baking it, it might not even require that much time period. It might not require a longer time period. But I would just add it in and just allow everything to cook together. Like, we put spinach on our pizza, and it cooks fine on the pizza.
That's amazing. So you literally, like, this literally could take you 8 to 10 minutes. That's it.
Absolutely. We do it all the time. Like, with our cheese biscuits, we'll just throw cheese in there. With bacon, we obviously cook the bacon first, but just throw the bacon in there once it's cooked, and it's no time at all. Even like in the microwave, when I've done the bacon bread, or even egg, I've cracked the egg bread. It's people always ask how you get the egg in the middle. So what I do is I literally will divide that quarter cup in half. So once I've mixed it, I have 2, and then I'll put 1 in, crack an egg, and then put the rest on top, and then microwave it. And so when you cut the bread, you have cooked egg in it. Oh,
I saw that. I think I saw that on your on Instagram. I love that you showed us how to do it. Okay, so we talked about binding. Oh, we've talked about so much. Garlic bread, bagels, because I saw that on your Instagram. You also made bagels.
I did. I was watching, like, everybody was like, oh, I think it's fathead bagels. I made fathead bagels. I made all these bagels. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can, because a lot of times when you look at these recipes, a lot of the things that they're looking for, we already have incorporated in our mix. So you can skip several steps, right? And you can skip the incorporation of several ingredients because it's already in one mix.
Okay.
So, what we did was we just went to the part when they added the cheese. And just, added the cheese, whatever other ingredients they required, and then we shaped it. And then just put it in the oven.
And I like that so much more, like with the bagels, I like that so much more than for me, dairy, like, dairy is very calorically dense. It has a lot of calories, and a lot of people just, in terms of, they want to avoid it either, I don't know, for a bit, or sometimes they just can't tolerate it. So it's really great that I think this mix, the fact that you can not replace, but it gives you another option for fathead pizza or fathead bagels, or, just bread with a lot of cheese. So I love that.
I actually just saw a comment here about raw tomatoes being a no-go.
Right.
And you know what? That's awesome. It's good to know. I personally, I've never cooked with raw tomato in our product.
Right.
I know that one of the things is the moisture issue.
Right.
And it does make sense when, the comment is that it keeps the middle raw. It's the moisture issue. So I guess sun-dried tomatoes over raw tomatoes.
Okay.
Right?
That's helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Eden. That was Eden. She also bakes. So she's.
Hey, Eden.
Learn from my mistake. Oh, Eden, mistakes is how I learn, clearly, every day. So I absolutely love that. We talked a little bit about the fact that it does. So if someone makes it like in terms of, I think this is really good even for like camping, taking it up to your cottage, like, for the summer, making burgers up north. In terms of meal prep, I'll say one thing, which is we've made the mix and then we've stored it in the freezer, and it freezes really, really well. So I just want to, in case you have not tested it out.
We haven't tested that out. I have tested the product itself after we've made it. We put it in the freezer for a day or two and we've brought it out.
Right.
But it goes so fast. And I want to let the viewers know that, yes, we do eat this every day. We eat it every day. That's where you get the pictures from. Every day. And it's funny because my mom was over not too long ago and she goes, and so going back to the hot food, she goes, you guys don't eat anything hot here, eh? Because by the time you cook it, you have to take pictures of it. It's cold.
Yeah. I know. I don't have children, but because I have a food company, I never eat hot food. That's just.
Okay, well, exactly. That's it. Exactly. Yes.
That's my life. I'm used to it. It's okay.
But thanks for that. It's good to know that it freezes well.
So maybe we can end with some desserts because I think that, and you know what, it seems like everyone's been getting like Bacon a Minute and Goodies, because we launched Goodies, Bacon a Minute, and Just One's Kitchen together. So I think it's kind of cool that it's like sweet and savory. So I focused a little bit today more on the savory, but I'd love if you can give us some ideas about desserts, like quick desserts with the mix.
Desserts are really, really simple. So what we love to do is I love to just, even with that 90-second bread,
right?
You can go so many ways with it. So I make like a faux strawberry shortcake where I will take the bread, I will add a little bit of sweetener before putting it into the microwave.
Right.
When it comes out, I'll slice it in half, put some whipped cream, some fresh strawberries or strawberry jam, put the topping on top, layer it again with whipped cream and strawberries, and there you go. Right?
That's
we
amazing.
Also I love pecans,
right.
and caramel. So I'll make like a keto caramel sauce. So if anybody's looking to make a keto caramel sauce, it's literally the same ingredients. You have your butter, you have your cream or your milk, and we use xylitol, and even erythritol has worked great. And you just mix it on the stove and you got your caramel. And what we do is we just drizzle it on top of the bread, sprinkle some pecans on it, and it's very, very decadent.
That's insane. Everything that you're saying is blowing my mind right now. And then Katie just said bread pudding, which by far is, growing up, bread pudding was one of my favorite desserts, and I've never been able to replace it. So I don't know if you've tried it, but I'm going to go on a mission to try that, Katie. So
I have to try it as well. I do have to try it. What we have done with it is that you can't eat it hot. Right. So for a lot of people who just want like either for maybe a pudding for dessert or a porridge for cereal, like in the morning, right? We have done that where it's to the, quarter cup, just add a quarter cup of water, and you don't even have to bring it to a boil. You just watch it, and then you add becomes just 2 minutes, if that. Add your cream to it, add your sweetener, nuts, raisins, whatever, and you have your pudding for dessert or porridge for breakfast. I think it's the time of day that you have it. That's when the name changes.
I hadn't even thought about that. So
yeah, you can have it hot. Yep, you can have it as a pudding or porridge. So for all those who like, it has a consistency of cream of wheat. If you remember cream of wheat from back in the day, that's how it has a consistency of. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. I love that Eden just said that we can make a pie crust by adding ghee or butter and coconut oil to it.
Yes, we've done it for our cheesecake.
Oh, have you? You've done everything.
Yes.
This is how, you know what? You just cook with it every night, basically. You're eating all of your inventory, Myra. I'm an accountant too, so I need to come over and tell you not to eat your inventory.
Yeah, I'm also an end user. What can I say? Yeah. I sell it. I'm an end user. That's just, yes. I'm going live and saying that I'm an end user.
It's just, it makes you proud when you can eat what you sell, right? Like that's the best thing, right?
Absolutely.
I've been starting to bake with Lee's ghee, and I found that with ghee we can use half the portion. My mom always gets so annoyed with me when I pronounce ghee because she's like, it's ghee, which is the way that you pronounce, because ghee is originally from India, and she's just like, I can't. You don't pronounce, it's not ghee, it's ghee. But anyway, and I'm like, Mom, everyone just calls it ghee. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. I just can't walk around saying ghee. Like, people won't understand me, or people are always trying to correct me. So anyway, but she's always like, it actually, like, even when Brian says ghee, she's like, it's ghee. Let's just put it here. So anyway, but what I noticed with, I talked to the founder of Lee's Ghee, and she said that you can use, like, kind of, it depends on what you're making and what recipe, as you said, and you got to test it out. And so clearly I'm an instructions person, because I was like, just tell me what to do. And she said that you use, if a recipe calls for butter, then you just use half the portion of ghee. So
yes.
So that's kind of what she says. Katie says that's like when I hear people say gyro. I don't know. Katie, which pronunciation do you want to go with?
Yeah. Hiro, I think it's Hiro.
Yeah, she will have to tell me, because I probably butchered it. So, you know what? So I butcher ghee too, so it's fine. It's all fun.
Something that we've used it a lot for is cookies.
Okay.
Yeah, we've used it a lot for cookies. Yeah, and when you make cookies with bacon in it, you get more the chunky cookie, right? And the thing about that is, I know on our package, the illusion when you're doing it is that everything is 1-to-1. So if you're doing a quarter cup, it's 1 egg. You have to play around with that, because even when you're making like loaves of bread, like if you're making a big bread loaf, you need less eggs than you do the mix. And it's the same with the cookies, where 1 package is 3 eggs. If you do 4 eggs to 1 package, which is what you would think it would be, right? You would get more of a doughier, cake-like cookie. But when you decrease the egg by 1 with the 100 grams, you get a very nice cookie texture, and it's a chunky cookie. Got it. So we've used it a lot for cookies. Yeah.
Got it. That's amazing, because I did recall, like, for me, I always think, I'm just going to use 4 eggs in this, because that just makes sense. But I guess it depends, as you're saying, on what you're making, so you can reduce the number of eggs. So you would play more with the eggs. Sorry, you would play more with the eggs than the butter, right?
Say that again.
I'm saying, like, in terms of different recipes, you would play around more with the eggs than the butter, I guess, is what you're saying. Oh,
absolutely. The butter and the oil, I don't even fudge on. I don't fudge on it. Obviously, I know when you're using butter, you would, once again, it's not a heaping tablespoon full of butter. Right. So when it comes to that fat, I don't mess around with it. It's the eggs that can really change the consistency of of what it is you're making. Right. So like, even when we're making the bread, if you're looking for a very compacted bread, the very stiff bread, you would use more eggs, as opposed to if you're looking for something a little bit lighter. Right. And even egg whites work. So I've had people tell me that they've just used egg whites and in the 90-second bread, and it's been fine. And it didn't give them that eggy taste. Some people say, oh, you know, sometimes it tastes eggy. It didn't give them that eggy taste. Another thing we have found is when we go to the farm, you don't know what kind of eggs you're going to get. Sometimes the yolk is very yellow. Sometimes it's very orange. Right? So the color of your bread would actually a lot of times depends on the color of your yolk.
Right.
So sometimes you'll get a very yellowy looking bread because of the yolk.
Got it.
So, yeah.